how Mitt Romney is the Rodney Dangerfield of this Republican race. He just can't get no respect. That's what Jerry Seib thinks, and he joins us now from Washington, D.C. Jerry, it's sad he can't get no respect. Walk us through the logic. I just am picturing Rodney Dangerfield, and then I'm picturing Mitt Romney, and it's hard to give a straight face.
It's jarring, I agree. But look, I think the point I'm making is that he probably deserves a little more respect than he's getting. You know, George Will, the conservative columnist, has essentially written that if he gets nominated, he's almost certain to lose. And the popular thing to do about Mitt Romney is to talk about what a weak front runner he is. And you know, maybe there's some truth to that. But on the other hand, he's doing what he said he would do months ago if people would have bothered to listen, which was, I'm going to move slowly and methodically through this process and gather enough strength to win the nomination. The fact is, Republicans had a process set up this year that did not allow for a lightning strike quick victory. They have an elongated schedule and lots of proportional rather than winner-take-all states up front. So it's hard to have a blitzkrieg strategy here. So Mitt Romney is doing what he has to do. He's built a big organization, he's got a lot of money, and he just wins enough to make sure that he's still a front runner, which indeed he is in our new Wall Street Journal NBC News poll.
Right, but he doesn't seem to be getting enough respect among the independents, right? In the same poll, it says independent voters have more negative than positive feelings towards Romney at this point. So what does he need to do about that? I mean, isn't that a big, key, important thing he needs to deal with going forward?
Sure it is. I mean, here's his problem. He's still a long way from getting the nomination. This is going to continue to be a long slog. I mean, tomorrow he'll be in much, much better shape if he happens to win Ohio, which is a big industrial Midwest swing state that's kind of a microcosm for the whole country. And if he wins Tennessee and shows that he can win a big state in the South, I think he'll be a long way toward making himself the clear, if not the prohibitive, front runner for the nomination. But it's going to go on for weeks. And while it goes on, his job, as it was during all those debates, is to stand up every day and say, I'm really, really a conservative, which is what he needs to do to convince people in the conservative base, which is the bulk of his party, that they should be comfortable with him. The more he does that, the harder it is to win over those moderate independents and swing voters in the center of the spectrum. And as you suggest, that's shown through in our poll. His favorability ratings and the negative feelings toward him among those kind of voters are a problem for him right now, and it's going to continue to be that way until he can clear up the nomination, but that may be a couple of months yet.
So back to George Will, who's written that if Romney gets nominated, he's almost certain to lose. Does George Will have a better candidate, or will they all lose?
No, I think that's the problem. And you know, I think the George Will column I'm referring to talked about how either Rick Santorum or Mitt Romney, and basically we're talking about a two-man race now, that either of those guys is more likely than not to lose against Barack Obama. They're two conservatives, but they're very different kind of conservatives. They both have problems. You know, the flip side of this is that the situation is slowly but steadily improving for Barack Obama. You know, his job approval rating in our new poll has hit that magic 50% mark, and it's been almost a year since he was there. The economy is getting better. More importantly, voters are starting to say they think the economy is getting better and will continue to get better, and perceptions are at least as important as reality in that game. So you have not only a Republican Party that's probably hurt itself and been engaged in a corrosive primary process, they're offset against a president that's had the opposite trend over the last couple of months. Things have gotten slowly, not spectacularly, but slowly better for him. That's the strategic situation George Will's writing about.
So what you're advising Romney right now, besides independence, what does he have to do? What are the top 3 or 4 things he has to do in the coming weeks and months?
Well, you know, look, there's not much he can do. He's got to get the nomination first, and that means essentially staying on the track that he's on. You know, he's talking a lot about biography, and that's, I think, important because he's calculated that if you're a businessman and not a Washington insider this year, that's a good place to be. That's tended to work for him. I think he could probably start talking a little bit more about where he's going to take his economic programs, more details in that regard, but that's difficult because he'd have to talk to the right, and he might want to pivot back toward the center after he gets the nomination. I mean, he's sort of stuck doing what he's doing, which is 3 yards in a cloud of dust and spending a lot of money to win states until he's got this thing wrapped up.
3 yards in a cloud of dust. It's a great visual. Thank you very much, Jerry Seib. And you can check out Jerry's column in tomorrow's Wall Street Journal.